Hi classmates, Tracy de las Llagas again here from Dev 206 Section D to continue the discussion on principles of clear and effective writing for the radio. Do you remember when our section reported on Module 3, our topic was about writing print communication materials. Our group discussed 14 principles of clear and effective writing. Our reference material for this course by Lustria, Tabing, and Osalia presents to us another set of principles particularly for writing for radio. I'll be discussing Principles 3 and 4. Principle 3. Aim for clarity. When aiming for clarity, use familiar words or those which are commonly used by the listeners and which are acceptable to them. Prefer words with clear and concise meaning. To me, this principle is similar to principles 4 and 5 of clear and effective writing. Principle number 4, use specific concrete language, and principle number 5, avoid using jargon or too many technical terms. Adding to the samples cited in the reference material, let's take a look at these words. First, abode. A more simpler term could be home. Next word, famished. A more common term for this could be hungry. Prosaic. We could use the simpler term simple. Furious. The everyday word that we use for this could be angry. And impoverished, which simply means poor. Still on principle number 3, aim for clarity, another tip would be to repeat important points or messages. Since radio is highly auditory, in order to highlight important points, it is best to repeat, recap, or summarize important points for retention of the message to listeners. Still on principle number 3, aim for clarity, repeat important points or messages. Since radio is highly auditory, in order to highlight important points, it is best to repeat, recap, or summarize important matters for retention of the message to listeners. Also, eliminate excess words that will just make sentences long. Sounds familiar? Remember principle number 7 of clear and effective writing? Keep your sentences short. In my Module 3 report, I shared tips on how to trim sentences and talked about rhythm. Be accurate and precise. Again, this is similar to principle number 4 of clear and effective writing, which tells us to use a specific, concrete language. Let's study this example given in our reference material. Enough amount of salt. The reason this is vague is because enough may be relative, whereas if you say 1 teaspoon of salt, it leaves no room for interpretation or guesswork because it is exact. Another thing to consider when aiming for clarity, avoid abbreviations. The listeners may not understand them. The announcer may also be confused, especially with those referring to titles or positions. Using abbreviations in radio scripts, especially of those that tackle medical topics, may be quite dangerous. Sounds familiar? To me, this is very similar to principle number 5 of clear and effective writing. Avoid using technical terms. This table shows us abbreviations and the different ways that we could interpret them. For example, DC could mean discharge, discontinue, disconnected, or District of Columbia. ABC, this could mean airway breathing circulation or American Broadcasting Company. There's also Australian Broadcasting Corporation. CC could mean the unit of measurement, cubic centimeters, or carbon copy. AC could mean alternating current, or it could also refer to air conditioning. ADV is a shortcut for adverb or advance. AM could mean antemeridian, meaning morning, or amplitude modulation, the AM radio. GMA could refer to the Greater Manila area, or GMA the person, Gloria Macapagal Arroyo. Now we move on to principle number 4, put action into your sentences. Use active verbs. They create excitement and action and make sentences short and alive. Sounds familiar? Remember principle number 8, use active verbs. Here's an example of a sentence in an active voice. The dog chases the ball. The subject, dog, is performing the action chase on the target of the action, ball. In a passive voice, the sentence gets flipped, and the subject is now being acted upon by the verb. So our sentence turns out like this. The ball is being chased by the dog. You can also refer to my groupmate Emil's presentation in Module 3 for a review of the discussion on using the active voice in sentences. So my discussion ends here. Hope this module served as a reinforcement to the module on effective writing that we discussed earlier. The key point to remember is, when writing for radio, we have to take into consideration its highly auditory aspect, so our writing approach should be conversational. Tune in to my groupmate Honey's report for the remaining 2 principles. Thank you and have a great day.